Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Fox Sports.
The Rays finished their 10-game homestand on a winning note thanks to some spectacular defense and a great pitching performance by David Price. Today, Tampa Bay heads into the charmed city of Baltimore to face the power-laden Orioles led by Nelson Cruz. We greet you from Baltimore, Maryland, where it is a gorgeous day. So beautiful that Ernie Banks might say, let's play two. That's exactly what we're going to do. A day-night doubleheader. Game one, the Rays and the Baltimore Orioles. Coming up here from Camden Yards at Oriole Park. Hi again, everyone. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Stats. So good to have you aboard. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Well, the Rays finished their 10-game homestand 5-5, hit the road 11 games in 10 days, and they find the Baltimore Orioles here in the middle of their lineup, red hot, led by Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, I mean, this Baltimore lineup, plenty of power throughout. The most productive, however, has been Nelson Cruz. You look at his ranks throughout Major League Baseball, he's tied for first in 24 home runs, 64 runs batted in, also tied for first. The slugging percentage, very good. And in his last 7 games, he's hit 3 home runs and driven in 7. Now, good news for the Rays is this. They have a good game plan against Nelson Cruz. They've held him in 8 games to just a 7 for 33, a 212 average, 1 home run, and 3 runs batted in. So, again, good plan against Nelson Cruz. The key will be to execute it.
Well, the Rays were 5-5 on their 10-game homestand. The Orioles have won 4 of their last 5, and the Rays will send Alex Colomé to the hill here in game 1.
Yeah, and Alex Colomé, this guy has plus stuff. He's got a fastball, mid-90s, a very good slider that he's going to get into the upper 80s, and then a changeup to go along with it. The key for Alex Colomé will be command. When he's able to pitch from out in front, he can really saw his way through a lineup. When he doesn't, he's pitching from behind, he will get predictable with the fastball. Now, that fastball is still good enough to get a lot of guys out. However, you become predictable with the fastball to this lineup, you could run into some trouble.
When game 1 of this doubleheader is complete, it will be mathematically 1/2 of the season complete for the Rays. Just over 2 minutes, countdown to the first pitch. Rays and the Orioles right around the corner. We welcome you back to Baltimore. Sun is out as the Rays begin their fourth three-city road trip before the All-Star break. They will have one in all of the proverbial second half of the season. And this afternoon, the Rays and the Orioles begin the first end of the day-night doubleheader. Let's take a look at the Rays lineup, brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. Desmond Jennings will lead off again, followed by Kevin Kiermaier and Ben Zobrist. Evan Longoria hits cleanup in front of James Loney. Brandon Guyer is in left with Matt Joyce, the DH. Sean Rodriguez hits eighth, and the number 9 hitter is Jose Molina.
And this lineup will be facing the right-hander for the Baltimore Orioles, Kevin Gausman. And I think the Rays have payback on their mind. In his last start, it was against the Rays, and that was a start, if you remember, where the Rays loaded the bases off Gausman with nobody out in the first inning. He was able to wiggle out of that jam and end up going 6 shutout innings in what turned out to be a Baltimore 2-0 win. He's won his last 3 starts, as you see right there. ERA very good. And this is going to be the defense as it lines up behind Kevin Gausman in the outfield left to right. Steve Pearce, Adam Jones, and Nick Markakis across the infield third to first. Manny Machado, J.J. Hardy, Jonathan Scope, and Chris Davis. Caleb Joseph will be behind the plate.
Rays have had a difficult time against the Orioles this year. They have gone 1-7 against them, hitting just a collective .227 against Baltimore pitching. And Desmond Jennings set to lead it off here against the young, tall right-hander, Kevin Gausman. Desmond at .243. And the first pitch of this one is a little bit outside. First pitch presented by Pinch-A-Penny. Tony Randazzo calls the balls and strikes. Two and 0. Strike to Desmond. Jennings in the leadoff spot again today. That's been a frequent spot for him. In 17 consecutive starts, he's hit .257. That on base percentage in that stretch, .316, and that's something Joe Madden would still like to see him increase.
Yeah, you'd like to get Desmond. There was a stretch earlier this season where he was in the upper threes with the on-base percentage. That, maybe not sustainable, but that would be more in line with what you want to see. Get him into that 360 range. Gives you a lot more options to score runs.
Deep short. Hardy with a long throw, and it's there in time to get Jennings. Desmond grounds out short to first.
I'll tell you what, I thought that ball forcing J.J. Hardy to move to his right gave Desmond Jennings maybe a chance to sneak in there, but Hardy so solid at shortstop. Not flashy, but he's solid. He makes all the plays. Very accurate arm.
There's Kevin Kiermaier batting at even .300. Fouls it out of play. Strike. The Rays, as you mentioned, when they last faced Gausman, and that was back on the 18th, there's a changeup and a cut and a miss. He was matched up against Alex Cobb, and that's when they did load the bases in the first inning against him. And he struck out Loney and Zobrist and got to Jesus on a foul fly down the left side. This one is fouled out of play. Goes back in the dugout and right back in again.
Well, you would think that, and there's his final line, just the one walk, 111 pitches, and you would think Gausman, by the the action on his pitches and the way that he is able to drive the ball downhill, that he would be a better ground ball pitcher. Right now, I mean, it's early returns, 4 starts. He's about a 50-50 guy, but you can see that he can drive the ball downhill with that fastball in the low 90s, the split changeup, slider. Have good weapons, and he's another guy that when he pitches from out in front, he can be a handful.
The ground ball softly hit toward the middle, and the play at first, safe the call. Hardy had the rage to his left, and with the speed out of the box, Kiermaier has himself an infield hit.
Yeah, he forced Hardy to move, and he hit the ball softly, and we all know that Kevin Kiermaier is going to bust it out of the box. There's Machado right there on the throw, on the run, and you see Kiermaier getting that left foot down. Full effort. That's what allowed that base hit right there.
So the Rays have a base runner. Here's Ben Zobrist. One ball, no strikes.
Those are the little things that you just cannot overlook. I mean, if you hit that ball and just take a good effort down to first base, you're going to be thrown out by a step. You give max effort, you're able to beat it out. Here's a base runner early in a ball game, a guy that could steal a base for you.
And we've seen a lot of ability, a lot of talent on display from Kiermaier. Well, what really stands out is the effort that he gives.
That's where he stands apart from really everybody else. He is noticeably giving more effort than most guys you're going to see play in this game.
There he goes. And the throw down, they're going to get him this time. That turned out to be a semi-pitch out, up and away. It is Zobrist, and Kiermaier's cut down at second base. And Joseph, if you give him a chance, he's been good behind the plate at throwing out opposing base runners.
And that's why he's out there. You see the jump of Kiermaier, but Joseph, very good transition, and they get that throw down there in plenty of time to make the tag. Got him right on that left wrist.
There's Zobrist lifting one into shallow left. Caught by Pierce. And the Rays get a runner, lose him, caught stealing. No scores. We go to the bottom of the first. The bottom half of the first inning from Baltimore. Let's take a look at Buck Showalter's lineup, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Nick Markakis leads off. He'll be followed by Steve Pierce, and then Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz, the DH, and J.J. Hardy at short. Manny Machado's at third. Jonathan Scope will be at second. Caleb Joseph, the catcher, bats ninth.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the Tampa Bay Rays is going to be right-hander Alex Colomé. This is his body of work at Durham. 5 starts down there, 3-1 record, 3.54. Overall's throwing the ball well. You see the walk total, almost a strikeout an inning, but better on the walks, and that will be the key for him. You know, this is a guy that in 20 big league innings with the Rays, spread over 4 earlier this year and then 16 from last year, 12 walks in those 20 innings, and that will be the one thing that holds him back because he's got a very good arm and good stuff.
Well, Nick Markakis in that leadoff spot. He is very comfortable there. Comes in hitting .296 for the year, and he is third in the league in total hits with 96.
And how about it? Those 96, 29 of those hits have come in this situation in the first inning.
So here's Colomé, and his first pitch is a strike call.
Well, that's where you're going to see that fastball sit for Colomé right up into the mid-90s. Slider to go along with it, along with the changeup.
One and one.
It'll be interesting, too, because you have a veteran Baltimore lineup facing Colomé. You know, they want to see him, see his arm slot, see what his pitches do, but at the same time, they're a very aggressive team. I mean, this team gets up there ready to hit, and they all get after it.
Yeah, they think about hitting first before walking. They're 14th in the league in walks, and there's a base hit. Well, Markakis in that first inning has been remarkable. He's aboard to start this one.
Hit number 30 in the first inning. And let's take a quick look at the Tampa Bay Rays defense. In the outfield, left to right, Brandon Guyer, Desmond Jennings, and Kevin Kiermaier. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Ben Zobrist, Sean Rodriguez, and James Loney. Jose Molina will be behind the plate.
Well, here's Steve Pearce. Boy, was he tough on the Rays at the Trop in the last series between these two teams. This ball down and gets away past Molina, and down to second base goes Markakis.
You know, that ball obviously not in the zone that Colomé wanted it, but Jose Molina just kind of an Olay right there and lets that ball get by. So you want that ball in, it's down and away, and that's just, that ball's got to be stopped.
Well, I mean, it's pretty evident that Molina, with his style, is not going to move a lot back there. One ball, no strikes here on Pearce. Man in scoring position now. 2-0.
You know, the difference, you think about Ryan Hannigan back there, and you have visions of a goaltender in hockey, a hockey goalie. You know, Jose Molina has such soft, good hands that I think, you know, a lot of times he relies too much on that. He just feels like he's going to be able to pick anything. You see that on balls in the dirt, and sometimes it comes back to haunt you.
Now it's a 3-0 count. Well, you hear so much about framing with Molina, and you wonder sometimes if there's a downside to that, in that he's interested in framing pitches as opposed to blocking pitches. And the technique involved in trying to frame pitches sometimes makes blocking pitches secondary.
And that's what we just saw. That was what we just saw. You know, a runner on base, and he's going out there and has that faith in his, you know, his glove and his hands to just go out there and pick that thing. Well, it has a lot of velocity on it. He doesn't quite get out far enough, and now you've got a runner in scoring position. So I think you're absolutely correct in that assessment.
That's a strike. The count is going to be full on Pearce. You look up and down this lineup. This is the second leading hitting team in the American League. And leading this lineup and hitting with men in scoring position is the guy at the plate, Steve Pearce. He's hitting .333 with runners in scoring position this year.
He just had a 7-game hitting streak snapped on Wednesday. He's
been swinging the bat very well. I mean, he had a couple of big hits in that series against the Rays. In fact, it was that Gausman game where it was scoreless for so long, and then an error puts a runner on first base, and Pierce shoots the ball up the line. It turned out to be the game winner.
Yeah, he was hitting almost 500, 13 out of 27 in that hitting streak. Out of Lakeland. Been tough against the Rays. Foul out of play, forcing another 3-2 pitch.
You know, and he's a guy too that, you know, you think of Steve Pearce and you think the way that this lineup, you know, holds itself, that he's going to be a guy facing left-handed pitching, but he's done an awful lot of good work against righties. So he's a guy that, you know, when he gets hot like that, you can run him out there every day. Got some pop in that bat. Good extra base ability.
And he walks. A base hit and a walk. Our GMC big matchup about to step in. Adam Jones heating up as the summer arrives. 265 the first month, then 297, 330 for June.
Well, and Dwayne, I know that you'll be interested in this. He is all the way to 9 walks this year. He's almost to double digits in walks. He's one of the most aggressive hitters that you will see.
Yeah,
and
it's a major bulletin when he walks.
Yeah, and when you can put up the numbers that he does, being that aggressive, it's pretty impressive. He's not
swinging, strike one.
Not very selective.
And you know, in a way, he's a throwback to run producers. You put men on base, and he's going to go up there swinging as he does on this first pitch. Andre Dawson was like that, a great run producer, up there with the idea of driving in runs. Not always as selective as you might otherwise be, but he sees his role to drive in those base runners. Two.
That's why when you get a pitcher out there that knows what he's doing and has good command, you realize that you can treat every count with Adam Jones as 0-2. You go up there first pitch, throw him your 0-2 slider. There's a good chance you're going to get a swing on it. I mean, anything like that. And so you think of a guy like David Price with his command, what he can do to a guy like Adam Jones. Just pitch to the fringes and beyond, because you are going to elicit a swing. And that's what Colome should be doing right here in an 0-2 count.
It's fouled out of play.
That was a good spoil there by Adam Jones. That was a good slider by Colome. The movement on it, the action on the pitch was very late, and Adam Jones made an adjustment in his swing to be able to foul that off. That lets you know, you see those numbers about how he's heating up, seeing the ball well.
Chop left side. Longoria's going to have to take it to first. Markakis moves to third. Pierce up to second.
Well, you see this an awful lot. You know, an opportunity here. Evan Longoria is coming in. You think, oh, now is he going to go for the tag on Markakis? You can see Markakis was right in front of him crossing. See how close it was. He takes the out at first. That would have been difficult, but what this ends up doing is it basically turns out to be a bunt by Jones to move the runners to second and third after falling down 0-2.
And Chris Davis steps in. Davis 222 on the year, but an even 300 with men in scoring position. And the fastball by him. Mid-90s on that fastball.
That's where you can live against Chris Davis. You go middle in above the hands with good velocity, and he cannot get there. That's the way the Rays will attack him, as well they should. That's the one hole in his swing. Now, it's not easy to get it there all the time, but that's where you want to go. And they're going to go right back in there.
So roller foul, strike 2.
Fastball up, then a slider. You go right back to that fastball up and in. And even if you don't get it, it still changes the eye levels of Davis. You got a pitch or two to play with here. And you need a strikeout.
Stays wide. A ball, 2 strikes, boy. The Orioles get a couple of runners on, and you get down into the middle of this order with Jones, Davis, and Cruz. A challenge to be sure. Will hold the count. And a ball, 2 strikes, fouled out of play.
I think Jose Molina is going out to Alex Colomé to tell him we want to stay away from that area of the plate against Chris Davis. That was a pitch that was out over where Davis could really drop the barrel, and you know the kind of power that he has. Fortunately, he just fouled it off, and you get another chance here to try to wipe him out. But yeah, you're right. You come through the middle of this lineup with guys on it, they are going to make you work. You're going to be sharp mentally, but you also have to be obviously sharp with your stuff.
Well, the thing about Davis, he's got tremendous pull power, but he'll hit the ball out the other way, as we saw when he hit the grand slam right down the left field line against the Rays left-hander Eric Bedard.
You know, he does have that hole away when it's down. The reason this gets out is because this pitch is up. And when it's up like that, he can get to it, and that shows you the power right off the pole. David DeJesus into the wall like that. But if the ball down right now, mechanically, he's having a hard time staying closed. So it's down and away, up and in on Davis.
Roller to the right side into shallow right. Out at first, the run scores. Rays had Sean Rodriguez shifted out there to shallow right field. So Markakis crosses the plate. Pierce goes to third on the RBI ground out by Chris Davis. 1-0 Baltimore.
A productive at bat for Chris Davis, falling behind in the count. And Alex Colomé obviously going for the strikeout. Not able to get it. A slider down and in, and Davis rolls it over softly, but with the shift, Orioles are going to score their first run rather easily.
And now Colomé will try to limit the damage with Nelson Cruz, the hitter, second in the league in home runs. Tied for the top spot in runs batted in. And the pitch is a strike. Slider away that picked up the zone.
I like those bottom numbers. 212 on the average. The Rays have held him 7 for 33. They have pitched him very well. As you can see, the rest of the league has not.
Fly ball, center field. Jennings in front of the track makes the catch. The Orioles settle for 1 run, leaving a man at third. 1-0 Baltimore. in Baltimore, Orioles Park at Camden Yards. The Rays' first game of this day-night doubleheader. This is the makeup doubleheader as a result of the rain out here back on the 15th of April.
Well, if you're going to have a day-night doubleheader, this is the setting and this is the type of day you're looking for.
Yep.
What a gorgeous day.
79 degrees, clear skies.
And this ballpark never gets old. Beautiful facility.
Evan Longoria will open the second inning for the Rays. Middle of the Rays order. Loney to follow. Then Geyer. Ground ball third base. Machado makes the throw to first. Evan is out of there. James Loney walking to the plate. He's been swinging the bat well recently. Our Toyota trend definitely trending in the right way for Loney. 4 consecutive multiple hit games and 8 of his last 17. And that's been productive. 5 runs batted in.
And he's back to hitting the ball all over the field, and that's what he's going to have to do against Gausman. The way that he gets that late movement down and away from the left-handed hitters. That's the pitch that if he wants to stay out there and try to sink it away from you, it'll be imperative for Loney to shoot that ball the other way and not try and pull it. Those will lead to easy ground balls to the right side, and how about that? Hits by direction. That is outstanding.
Loney gets ahead in the count. Loney against Gausman at the Trop back on the 18th. Went 0 for 3. Gausman mixed up his approach to Loney in that game. He struck him out once on a changeup and then actually got Loney to chase a fastball up. Struck him out the last time he faced him.
That was right before Loney started to heat up, and you're right, he was expanding his strike zone, has it more under control now, and not only because of that walk that he just took, but because of those numbers, and you're right, and that's the way that you have to pitch to a guy like James Loney, because he has such a balanced approach. You cannot just continually attack him the same way. He's going to get wise to you and make the proper adjustment.
So he walks on 4 pitches. Now here's Brandon Geyer. Brandon with an opportunity to play on a regular basis, and he has made the most of that. 1 ball, no strikes. Putting 276 overall. Ground ball, that's fair. Up the left field line. Loney on his way to third. Pierce picks up the ball out of the corner. Now Loney's headed to the plate. The throw, not in time. Skips past the catcher. Joseph backed up by Gausman. And the Rays tie this one. Geyer with a 2-base hit over the bag at third and down the left field line.
Boy, did not think that that ball was going to be able to score James Loney from first, but that's exactly what it does. A nice answer here for the Rays in the second inning, and Brandon Geyer is going to get out around this ball, hook it right down the line. As you see it get down there and start to rattle around, here comes Steve Pierce. Gets it, it come from a long way, and then the relay's just not in time.
Loney's not the fastest guy on the team, but it took a long time with that play developing as it did. The ball rolling into the corner.
Yeah, Steve Pierce, he had a long way to run for that, and you're right. The one thing that helps James Loney, though, is obviously running on the contact on the ground. You know, he didn't have to see a line drive, see it through. He could immediately take off because he saw that it was a ground ball, and that's what got him the good start that ended up resulting in the run.
Yeah, and as a result, he usually runs the bases pretty well, too. That is, cuts the bags and pretty straight lines in that regard. Now this one gets away as Gausman hits the deck after delivering that pitch, and Geyer winds up going to third on a wild pitch.
I wonder if he caught his cleat. He definitely came out of his delivery. You see him come down and watch that front leg, and that's exactly what happens. That heel clipped the mound, and he never got to his landing spot.
Well, you're always concerned when you see a pitcher do that.
Well, anytime you have an unnatural throw like that, you're right. Gausman, you see right here as he comes down right there, he ends up a few inches short.
Joyce on 2-0 lifts it to the left side. Machado near the stands. Seem to have lost that ball. It's out of play anyway. But as he approached the stands, you can see him have a difficult time tracking that foul pop.
He acted as if, the sun's in his eyes. Now he has the glove up and the shades on and wanted no part of that.
So Joyce gets another shot with a count of 2-1. Man at third, one out with the infield up.
Now where do you go from there? Glove up, shading the eyes, shades on, shading the eyes.
Ground ball through the drawn-in infield, and the Rays lead. Geyer crosses the plate. Matt Joyce drives in the run. 2-1, Tampa Bay.
Really nice job by Matt Joyce there. Infield in, all you're thinking is hit the ball hard, and Matt Joyce hits the ball where it's pitched. The ball's going to stay away. It's got a little elevation to it. Just a nice even stroke there by Matt. Find a hole on the left side.
Rays with 3 consecutive base runners. They've scored twice. Sean Rodriguez misses the first one. That's a strike. Now a bunt, pretty good one. Charged by Machado. Throw to first. Going to be in time. That's a nice play by Machado. Joyce moves up to second. Rodriguez trying to bunt his way on.
Yeah, and you'll take that from Sean. I mean, what you end up doing is you force Manny Machado to make a highlight reel type of play to be able to get you. He's playing back, but look at him come in the bare hand and then have to make the accurate throw and get him by about a step. That's tremendous work there by Manny Machado.
Two outs. Bunt gets Joyce into scoring position. And now Jose Molina. He takes a strike. Molina now with a couple runs batted in. Gone 2 for 34 with men in scoring position this year, and has gotten a few more hits lately. 7 of his last 21. One ball, one strike. Two. Rays have scored 2 to take the lead. Well, they'd love to pick up another one with a 2-out hit here. It always seems there's a little psychological lift if you can put up that third run. Two and two.
The Rays have been swinging the bats better of late. They've been doing a much better job with runners in scoring position, scoring more runs, and that's going to obviously give them opportunity to win more games because the pitching staff has rounded into form. And for the most part, they've been solid all the way through that rotation and into the bullpen.
It's upstairs.
Here's the other thing, Dwayne. You talk about getting that third run, the emotional lift that it gives the Rays. It's also very demoralizing for the Orioles and for Kevin Gausman to give up that, 2-out hit that potentially could drive a run in. And especially with a guy like Molina who's really struggled in these situations.
And strike 3 call. Molina claiming it was wide. Tony Randazzo calls him out on strikes. Rays settle for 2.
Second inning, Yunel Escobar not playing in game 1 of this doubleheader. Tested out that shoulder, the throwing shoulder before the game, guys, and still not 100%. Joe Madden said he'll check with him in between games and see if he can go in the nightcap today. For Escobar, though, they don't think it's a serious situation, no DL possibility, and the other byproduct is that Joe Madden says Ben Zobrist, formerly a shortstop coming through the minor leagues, is as good at short as he is anywhere in the field. He really likes his play over there. Back to you.
Yeah, it's been kind of fun. Of course, he's got back in at short for a couple of innings at the end of the homestand. First pitch to J.J. Hardy. And it's down, 1 ball, no strikes. Kind of fun to see him over there. And he loves to go back and play shortstop. That's where he started his pro career in the minor leagues.
Obviously a very important position. Up the middle defense. Going to get a lot of ground balls over there. And it keeps you into the game because you are constantly in the mix. And Ben's been very solid playing that position, as he is pretty much everywhere you put him.
Out of play.
Yeah, he kind of reminds you the same kind of style as J.J. Hardy. They're not flashy, but they make plays. Solid arm, accurate arm.
Fly ball. Jennings coming in. Rodriguez out from second in shallow center field. Rodriguez makes the catch.
Rodriguez getting some mileage there. A long way from second base to make that play.
Yeah, you think about where he's been playing, the positioning. He made the one play from short right field. He made that one in short center field. More of an outfield rover than the traditional second baseman.
He's more along the in line, cut out of the same mold as Kelly Leak. They just seem to take everything.
Swing and a miss by Machado. one is down. 1 ball, 1 strike. You played with Kelly Leak, didn't you? It's frustrating.
It is. And you're out there in right field, settling under a fly ball, and then here he comes, and cuts right in front of you to take it. Kind of like, listen, you play your position, I'll play mine, but the guy can make plays.
Good cut and a miss here by Machado. 1-2.
Good delivery here by Colomé. Good action on that changeup. That's been a pitch that's been improving for him.
Colomé now 25 years old. The nephew of Jesus Colomé, who pitched for Tampa Bay. Chopper foul. I think most people, the Rays included, developing Colomé and others who see him, could project him into a middle of the rotation sort of guy, and if it all came together, his arm's an impressive arm. He could be even more than that, but right now they just like to have him settle in and develop enough command so that he could be counted on. A high popper right side. Loney up against the railing and no play.
You know, the other thing, Dwayne, that the one area of concern I think you have with Colomé is not the arm, like you said. Command has been improving in the small sample size from this year. That's a good thing, but durability. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. You look back, he made 28 starts in the minor leagues in 2011.
Yep.
Since then, it's been 17, it's been 14. A myriad of little nagging injuries here and there that have limited a full season from him. And that's what you want to see going forward, the ability to take that ball 32 or 33 times over 6 months.
This is with the pitch in. It's 2-2. If he could do that, there's a lot of arm there to work with.
No question.
One away with the bases empty. And right back through the middle, over the mound and into center. Machado's aboard. Let's take a look at Machado and his outings for the Durham Bulls. You see that last start, not good at all, but prior to that, some very good numbers.
You can't argue. I mean, 2 earned runs in 26 2/3, 25 and 6 on the strikeout to walk. Yeah, that's how one game can really skew your stats. But overall, still 3-1 with a 3.5. Yeah, it doesn't speak to how dominant he was in the first 4.
Jonathan Scope. 1 on, 1 out. Ground ball short. Zobrist to Rodriguez. That's 1. And over to first. The Rays turn the 6-4-3 double play to retire the Orioles in the 2nd inning. Base hit by Machado. He raced on this double play. Rays lead 2-1. places. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Checkers, big Philly flavor, small price Checkers Philly cheesesteak, and the new Chicken Philly. Each just $1.99. As we roll into the third, the Rays will have the top of the order facing the right-hander Kevin Gausman. His first pitch to Desmond Jennings is a strike. A little break to that one from Gausman. One and one. Jennings grounded out to J.J. Hardy his first time.
The Rays hitters being patient with Gausman. What he wants you to do is commit early. You can see a lot of these fastballs down in the zone, and if you can get a hitter to do that, he's going to beat the ball into the ground all day.
2-2.
The Rays, he threw the ball well against them in his last start, which was 8-9 days ago, but they have that added plus of having seen him recently, so they can adjust their game plans against him. They've already done that.
2-2. Did you always find that to be a disadvantage to face a team in back-to-back starts?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge. You know, you look at it as if that first time you threw against the team, you didn't have a very good outing, you knew exactly what adjustments needed to be made, and it gave you a great, liftoff point for that second start. If you threw the ball well, you go into the next start thinking, I'm not going to change a thing because it's proven to have worked. However, in the back of my mind, I've got to be thinking quick adjustments because they're not just going to sit back and let me pick them apart like I did 5 days previous or previous start. They're going to make some adjustments, so I've got to be ready. I'm not going to change anything off the bat, but I've got to be ready to make an adjustment on the fly. And so that was the challenge of it. But, yeah, I don't think any pitcher prefers that. Now, who knows? Maybe Tim Lincecum and the Padres, maybe he would prefer that. But outside of that, not something you really like to do.
Yeah, well, even he let a little time go by between those no-hitters. 3-2. Oh, hot shot, well foul off the bat of Desmond Jennings. Rays grab the lead with a 2-run second inning. It's a 2-1 ball game now. Jennings on the ground, deep third. Machado's throw on the money. 2 ground ball outs to the left side for Jennings. And kids, if you're looking for something fun to do this summer, then come play where the Rays play. At the Rays Summer Baseball Camp, you can create your own memories by hitting at home plate just like Evan Longoria or pitching from the mound like David Price. To register, go to raysbaseball.com/camps. Kevin Kiermaier shortens to possibly bunt, takes the pitch too low.
But Manny Machado, who was even with the bag at third, he was coming in hard. We already saw him make a tremendous play on a bunt by Sean Rodriguez. I figure Kiermaier, if he was going to do that, he's going to pull it with him.
Popped up. Hardy shading his eyes. He had the glasses, but still needed to use that hand to shade his eyes and then make the play.
That is a bright sky, bright sun today. And look at the shades flipped down and the hand's still up. Poking through those clouds.
It's Ben Zobrist. It's a pitch low. And lifted a fly ball to left his first time. Big 246 this time in. One and one. Gausman misses up and away.
And breaking ball by Gausman. I know that he calls it a slider, but the ones that he's thrown in this inning have more of a curveball look and feel to it as far as velocity, the way that the depth of the break.
And he's missing away again. 3-1.
And that's where you get into that, some guys call it a splitter. Alex Cobb and Jake Odorizzi call it their changeup, but it's, they split the fingers. Everybody's got a different name for what they throw, and Ben Zobrist taking a walk right there is always a good thing.
So a 2-out walk will get Longoria to the plate. The Rays have had runners in each of the first 3 innings now.
And that's the key for Ben. When he starts to take his walks again, lets you know that he's seeing the ball a little bit better. He has his strike zone more in order. That's when you really see him start to heat up with the swing.
Longoria looks at 1 too low.
I'll tell you, for the most part, this was the adjustment that the Rays hitters have made. They're forcing Gausman to try to come up in the zone. I mean, he's going to get you a couple times down there with that late movement, but the Rays doing their best to try to lay off that pitch and force him up.
Now Longoria's ahead in the count, 2-0 against him.
And Caleb Joseph saw the frustration on the face of Kevin Gausman, and he's immediately going to go out there and try to calm him down, understanding what Longoria is capable of doing.
It's the 5th start for Gausman for Baltimore this year. 3-1 with a 274. He'd had 11 appearances at the AAA level, covering a little over 43 innings with their AAA affiliate. And there's ball 3. Buck Showalter had gone with a 6-man rotation over the last couple of weeks with an eye toward this doubleheader. Let's see what they do beyond this. Runner goes. The pitch is ball 4. The Rays get a pair of 2-out walks drawn by Zobrist and Longoria. 3 walks in the game now given up by Gausman, and Dave Wallace trots to the mound, their pitching coach, to chat with him. As a reminder, in the game today and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Buck Showalter looking on. Gausman now has thrown more pitches out of the zone than have hit the strike zone. 25 balls and 27 balls actually, and 25 strikes.
And when you're pitching like that and throwing the percentage, over 50% balls, be happy that you've given up just 2 runs to this point. Obviously in some trouble here, but that not only means the 2 walks and the walks that he has, but you're constantly behind 2-1, 3-1. That gives hitters a chance to take a real good hack at you, like Loney will do right here.
Loney takes that first pitch in the dirt, blocked by Joseph.
Just having a hard time right now getting into a rhythm. The release point on that sinker just not quite there.
This is up with that one.
This is where a pitcher starts to aim. You talk about aiming. He's not throwing these pitches with conviction. He's just trying to lay him in there as strikes, and that is not the way to go about your business.
Well, that's 9 straight pitches out of the zone by Gausman. Now 10. 3-0 the count on Loney.
I'll tell you, what looked like it was going to be a quick inning for Gausman, and he has put himself into a hole. And now, forget the physical, it becomes mental. Now the battle for Gausman is mental. 10 straight balls, that's not easy to do.
And the strike just picks up the corner.
And that was the first pitch of the last 3, 4, 5 where he threw it. I mean, he just read back and said, you know what, here's a 3-0 fastball. And he finally gets one in the zone, maybe.
Loney turned to walk into a run his first time and lets it fly on that 3-1 pitch. 3-2.
And they both did. That's your 3-1. Here comes a heater. Everybody knows it. James Loney, we've seen him do that now and then. If he feels like he's going to get a certain pitch and a certain count, he'll turn it loose.
Now back to 3-2. Foul out of play. So with 2 outs, the runner's naturally breaking. They'll be off again. See if the Rays can cash in with this 2-out opportunity in front of them. Second 3-2 pitch. Loney lifts a fly ball into left. Pierce waiting. And the Rays lead 2. Bottom of the 3rd inning coming. It's 2-1 Tampa Bay. And the Orioles in Baltimore. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. There's Caleb Joseph, the catcher. Joseph doing most of the catching. Matt Wieters out after undergoing Tommy John surgery. Colomade's pitch to Joseph is a ball.
Well, and hitting coach Jim Presley for the Baltimore Orioles, they wanted to get Caleb Joseph quicker to the baseball, so they've changed his stance a little bit more upright now, trying to get those hands from point A to point B.
Whips this one up the right side. Foul ball.
I mean, he was a little bit more crouched and over the plate earlier in the season, and his swing had a tendency to get loopy. So they feel that by straightening him up, that'll also straighten the line from the hands to the baseball and allow him to have a better chance to drive it.
Joseph had been at their AAA affiliate, Norfolk, and was hitting a little over 260 there. Last year, AA 299, and he has some pop in his bat as well. 22 home runs in the minor leagues last year. Now the count's 1-2. Joseph with 2 home runs this year for Baltimore. He had home runs in consecutive games. His first big league home run in the Yankees series on the 22nd of June, and then followed that up the next day with a home run against the White Sox. He's not only hitting home runs, but he's breaking signs apparently on that foul ball back behind the plate. Now Jennings out there in center will take care of that. That's the first out.
Well, Dwayne, let's talk about it. Let's take a look at it right here. The ball down and away. Molina can't get to it. Boom.
Yeah, they can use some of that the product to repair that sign.
And maybe that's the whole point.
Markakis, ball, no strikes.
Did that just happen? Did we just talk about the sign ripping? Show it.
If it's up there, we frequently comment on it.
Must be a riveting game.
A 2-ball, no strike count. Hey, top of the orders up here against Column A. Markakis.
Well, there's a bird out in left field. Maybe get him on. A shot of him.
Fastball upstairs, and now it's Colome, who with 3 straight pitches out of the zone behind Markakis.
Well, you need to find your way back in there. This is the lineup. Doesn't take a lot of walks. They want to swing the bat.
Yeah, they're next to last in the American League in walks drawn. It's 3-1.
And that's why it's so, you mentioned earlier that they're second in the league in hitting as far as average goes, but they have to manufacture everything by swinging the bats because they don't walk, they don't steal bases. They're last in Major League Baseball by a wide margin in stolen bases. So everything that they get, they have to go out and earn the hard way. And it is a lineup that can be foreboding. But a lot of times you're going to have to help them out for them to be able to put big innings together by either pitches out over the plate or unnecessary walks.
Full count now to Markakis. And he walks him. So Markakis aboard, the second walk issued by Colome.
I think that look at Joe Madden's face, I don't know if he was a big fan of this pitch selection, a backdoor slider. That's been a pitch that Alex Colome has really not been able to put into the zone today. Just not been able to execute that pitch, and so an interesting choice to go to that in a full count.
Steve Pearce takes a slider up.
Alex
ball, no strikes.
A little bit too quick with his delivery there. And that's what You keep an eye on this at bat. Alex got to run over there at first base and started towards home plate a little too quickly, and that's why that pitch hung up there. These are not the hitters coming up that you want to hang anything to.
1-1. Pierce got hot about the first week in June and has hit close to .390 since then, with 9 multiple hit games since June the 6th.
He had 5 in a row at one point. Scorching. Done with the gum.
Big hits against the Rays at the Trop. It's a strike, 1-2. Rays just 1-7 against the Orioles. They've had difficulty scoring runs against this club. Leading 2-1 right now as Pierce pops it up. Longoria is after it, but that ball's going to be out of play. We'll break out Pierce this year. You can see the difference between what he's done against the Rays. You know, the rest of the teams, he's handed out some punishment as well, 313, but against the Rays, 444.
And how about the 3 home runs to go along with it? Yeah, he had certainly had some big hits against the Rays, and that's why you see him where he's at in the lineup today. Boy.
And a nice pitch there to strike him out.
Boy, textbook slider by Colomé and a 1-2 count. You talk about starting that pitch at the knees on the outside corner and then breaking it right off the plate. That was well executed by Alex.
Well, you see it, now you don't. Markakis with the walk, the runner at first, 2 outs, and here's Adam Jones. We've mentioned before, Jones, an aggressive hitter, working on a little 6-game hitting streak right now. Goes after the first pitch and lofts it third base side, and that ball will be out of play. Both Zobrist and Longoria over there, but absolutely no chance to haul it in.
A real benefit to the hitters here. You know, very cozy confines of Camden Yards. You see a lot of those foul balls make their way into the stands, giving the hitter another opportunity. Just not a lot of foul territory here, especially as you move up the lines.
Yeah, that's one of the designs of a good hitter's ballpark. Pitchers love foul territory. Now 1-1 to count on Jones. Foul the other way. Out of play, so 2 strikes. Would have flipped an extra ball up there, but it's 0-2 to count on Adam Jones.
Not shocking at all either that both swinging. We talked about his aggressiveness earlier, but anything near that strike zone, he figures, listen, Adam Jones has that idea going up there. I've got 3 strikes to work with. I'm going to use them all.
After the 0-2 pitch, fouling it back.
Yeah, this is where pitchers need to realize, and Alex Colomé, a young pitcher, is that when you get to Adam Jones 0-2, when you get him to that count, you don't need to throw. That was a strike. Now, he fouled it off, but that would have been a called strike. You don't need that here.
And Jones doesn't change his approach and doesn't cut down his swing with 2 strikes. He's still very aggressive up there. Alex Colomé up here, making his 2nd appearance of the year for the Rays. Pitched against the Blue Jays back at the end of May. One ball, 2 strikes. Colomé has just picked up his first strikeout on a very good slider to Pierce on a 1-2 count. He's 1-2 with Jones. Kakis, the runner at first, he walked. Come in 41 and 36. They've had a little run, winning 4 of their last 5. 2 games back of Toronto in the East, running 2nd. Yankees 3 games back. This one skips by Molina, and that will advance Markakis to second base.
You know, this is another example of Jose Molina trying to pick this pitch instead of sliding out and blocking it. And he just tries to pick it and absolutely whiffs it. And that gives Baltimore a runner in scoring position in a 1-run game. And that just cannot happen.
So scored a wild pitch. 2 of those assessed against Colomé. But under ordinary circumstances, blockable pitches.
Especially that one, the breaking ball that was just off the right leg.
Jones fouls it, out of play.
You don't have to slide out there very far, and you just want to see that effort, especially as a pitcher. As a pitcher, you want to know that your catcher is going to be working back there for you. If I'm going to throw a breaking ball in the dirt, when you're trying to put a guy away to end an inning, and you want to know that that the effort that you're putting into the pitch is going to be reciprocated by the guy behind the plate, and it didn't look like right there. Now, was it a case of too much faith in the hands and trying to pick, or just no effort to get out there?
Two and two. Now the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. They have Davis on deck.
This would be newsworthy. If Adam Jones can go from 0-2 and work his 10th walk after being down 0-2, I just don't see how it can happen.
You think he's swinging no matter where the pitch might be?
And the odds say that he will. Let's just say that.
I think you're right. 3-2. He chops it to short. Sobris takes care of that. The walk, wild pitch, a man left at second. We go to the 4th. It's 2-1 Tampa Bay. Baseball's best gather in Minnesota as the captain Derek Jeter takes the field in his last All-Star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star Game at 7:30 on Fox. Here in Baltimore on a lovely afternoon, we move into the fourth. Brandon Guyer leads off against Kevin Gausman. A ball, no strikes. Guyer's double got the Rays on the board in the second when they scored 2 runs. They take a 2-1 lead in that inning. There's a strike. Special setting here for Brandon Guyer. Camden Yards. That one hits him, so he's hit by a pitch. He'll head to first. Guyer became the first player ever to homer in his first at bat here at Camden Yards. And is hit by this pitch.
Well, this is after the inning where Gausman really struggled with his command after getting 2 quick outs in the third. Back-to-back walks to Zobrist and Longoria and going 3-0 on James Loney before coming back and retiring him. So that's something to keep an eye on. If that continues to go south, Buck Showalter will not hesitate in making a move here. You cannot let this game get out of hand.
For the first, Gausman's still upside down when it comes to the number of strikes and non-strikes he has thrown. More out of the zone than in it.
That makes for a rough outing, you know, when you're into the 4th inning and you still have that kind of a breakout. And that's where the Rays really need to try and capitalize now with a leadoff man aboard.
Joyce takes the pitch low.
You know, doubt is not a tangible thing, but you almost feel like you can see it in Gausman's mechanics.
Yep.
Just not letting the ball go, being very careful with his delivery. You know, it's like he's feeling for the strike zone instead of attacking the strike zone.
Runner goes. That pitch was up and away, and Guyer is out at second base. Another great pitch to handle by Caleb Joseph. And the Rays lose their second base runner caught stealing today.
And I understand why Joe, sends these guys. Brandon Guyer with a good lead. You're trying to stay out of a potential double play because of Gausman's good sinker. But here's the deal. You lose these base runners. You've got a guy out there that's mechanically struggling to throw strikes. And, you feel like you're starting to get him on the ropes with confidence, and then you let him right off with a throw out at second. We've already seen Joseph do it one time before.
It's the 11th runner Joseph has thrown out this year. He's 11 out of 23 this year.
You take that. Almost half.
Joyce, after the 2-2, pops it back a third, and that's out of play. So the Rays lose the leadoff base runner, Guyer, who was hit by a pitch. So the bases are empty. The count is full. There's ball 4. Gausman upset with the call. but he's had a difficult time finding the zone, and with that will not get a lot of calls.
Yeah, you can't. If you're Kevin Gausman, you can't argue about any borderline pitch for the simple fact that, according to Fox Strikes, wasn't even borderline. But when you're struggling with your command like Gausman is, you're not going to get that, or even some pitches that may be better than that.
Sean Rodriguez in the batter's box. Chop to the right side, diving stop, and the toss from Davis to Gausman covering. Outstanding play by Davis, reaching out to keep that ball from perhaps getting through the right side.
Well, Sean Rodriguez knows that he's got a right side to work with because Chris Davis is holding a runner on, and so he takes this ball moving away and tries to just poke it in that hole. But Davis, a nice dive, and then how about the reverse flip right on the money to Gausman? That was pretty. Get off that bag as far as you can and then cut that ball off, and the no-look reverse pitch.
Joyce moves up to second on that play. And with 2 outs, Jose Molina again up here with a man in scoring position. Foul. Strike one. Molina was called out on strikes back in the second inning with Joyce at second. He's at second base. Joyce is again with 2 outs and Molina up here in the fourth. Little looper into shallow right. This time it's going to drop for a base hit. Here comes Joyce in to score, and the Rays pick up their 3rd run. Molina drives in the run, his 3rd RBI of the year.
Well, just a little inside out soft flare to right field. And the Rays able to extend their lead. Here it is. Jose Molina. Ball that's running in. He just inside outs it.
Desmond Jennings fouls it. Desmond, a couple of ground balls to the left side, one to short, and the last time to third. Machado deep at third. Came up with it and threw him out. Two runs in the second inning for the Rays, a run in the fourth. Two of the runs the Rays have scored, 2 of the 3 reached base initially on walks, and they've converted those into runs. Two balls and a strike. Jennings pops it up on the right side. Scope, the second baseman, makes the catch. Rays get a run, however. Joyce scores on the base hit by Molina. 3-1 Rays. fourth inning we go from Baltimore. Bust out your leg warmers and celebrate the 80s. Saturday, July 12th, the Rays take on the Blue Jays, and then Joan Jett and the Blackhearts perform after the game, playing hits like I Love Rock and Roll and I Hate Myself for Loving You. Concert is free with that game's ticket. Visit raysbaseball.com/concerts. Alex Colomé now with a 2-run lead. Gave up a hit and a run and a walk in the first. A hit, no runs in the second. A walk, and he left a man on in the third. And here in the fourth, Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz, and J.J. Hardy due up for Buck Showalter's club. First pitch to Davis is a strike.
Big inning here for Colomé. From where he's at in the lineup, the fact that your team just tacked on another run to give you a 2-run cushion now. And to keep this thing rolling, and to do that, you need a 0 here.
Count is 1-1 on Davis, who has the RBI in this Baltimore lineup today. That came on a ground ball into shallow right field, and he was thrown out by Sean Rodriguez as the Rays had employed the shift, and they do the same right now. Inside, 2-1.
It can also help Colomé with his pitch count. Get him through the 4th, 5th, into the 6th inning maybe. Joe's got a well-rested bullpen, and going to need these guys with 2 games today. And then this whole trip, really, 11 games in 10 days, they're going to get some work.
The Rays have the 4 games here in Baltimore, starting with this doubleheader. Then on to New York, meet the Yankees for 3, and then 4 in Detroit. Rays won't be home again until the 7th of July when the Kansas City Royals are in on a homestand leading up to the All-Star break involving Kansas City and Toronto.
Yeah, and I know that we had talked about that stretch of 18 out of 21 games that were huge for the Rays. They did not play that well over that time, and this road trip will be a tell too, because you're going to go Baltimore, New York, Detroit. You're going to play some high quality teams.
Yep, there's ball 4. Davis walks to open the 4th inning in front of Nelson Cruz, and as we take a look at our Southern Chevy dealers storyline, this is why you don't like to walk people in front of Nelson Cruz.
Well, look at the numbers right there, smack dab in the middle. 24 home runs. He's tied with Edwin Encarnacion in the home runs and the RBIs. As you see Cabrera joining him with 64. Oh boy, there are some. How about Jose Abreu? You got a chance to see him and swing the bat well, a rookie with big numbers.
Nelson Cruz in the batter's box. Takes strike 1. It's guys like this that makes you wish you picked up 3 runs in the second instead of 2 and cashed in on a 2-out run scoring opportunity in the third. The middle of this lineup can worry you. That pitch almost hit him. 1-1.
Well, how did it not? This is a fastball that gets away from Colomé and starts tracking in. Wraps right around Nelson Cruz, and that's going to get a visit here from Jim Hickey.
Hickey should try to calm the waters a little bit for Colomé if he can. Davis walked. Cruz up here with a count of 1-1, and in a 2-run ball game, you have to be very careful with what you do with Cruz.
Well, those numbers, for obvious reasons, and 1-1 count's not a bad count, but this is the big swing pitch, and this is where Jim Hickey feels like this count is the most important count that there is. It's because the swing and the offensive numbers from 1 and 2 to 2 and 1 are dramatic across the board. Maybe you just get him out, and that's even better.
And a double play ball, even better than that. 6-4-3 and out. So Cruz grounds into the double play. Zobrist, Rodriguez to Loney. And the Rays turn their second double play of this game, giving him 42 for the year.
They're far off the pace of every other team. I mean, this Baltimore Orioles team, they're going to be closing in on 100 soon. But this is well done by the Rays. Their two turns have been very efficient working with Zobrist and Rodriguez. That's usually not the two guys that are going to be doing that. But they've looked very good today.
Yeah, the next closest team has, I think, 51 double plays turned. The Rays came into this game with 40. They now have 42.
The one interesting thing is you look across Major League Baseball, and the Rays as a pitching staff have the lowest ground ball to fly ball ratio in the major leagues. And so that contributes a little bit to it. I mean, 42 is still ridiculously low. But they've got basically a staff of neutral pitchers, a lot of fly ball guys.
And so, a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah.
It's a strikeout staff.
Big time.
But there would be room for a few more double plays in there, even given those other numbers.
Well, we got spoiled last year watching this infield. Longoria, Escobar. You got Zobrist over there at second, and then James Loney. But the infield defense has not been as strong, especially up the middle.
Yeah, you got to get the balls to start double plays. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Hardy. And Hardy chases this slider. He's out on strikes. So we're through 4 with the Rays leading 3-1. Rays lead the Orioles 3-1 moving into the top of the 5th. Shield yourself from the Florida rain with the Rays umbrella. You can get this exclusive item only by purchasing the Tampa Bay Times ticket tandem to the game Friday, July 11th. Get your ticket tandem now by visiting RaysBaseball.com/tandem or by calling 888-FAN-RAYS. We go to the 5th inning. Kevin Kiermaier prepares to lead off. He's the number 2 hitter in Joe Maddon's Game 1 lineup. Facing Kevin Gausman, the right-hander, 23 years old, 6'4", out of LSU. Kiermaier takes a big cut. Strike one.
I think Kevin Kiermaier is going to see that more and more often. Off-speed pitches as this league tries to figure out what Kiermaier is all about, what he likes as a hitter. They've been getting burned an awful lot with the fastball, so you're going to see some more changeups, some more breaking balls. It's the constant probing to try to find the weakness and then to exploit it.
Popped up foul. Caleb Joseph, the catcher's after it. Now Machado runs him off. Better angle. The sky's been tough here in the first game, and Machado handles the foul pop. Kiermaier 1 for 3. Here's Ben Zobrist. Strike one to Ben. Liner into right field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Markakis found himself angling back and played it on one hop. And Ben is on for the second straight time.
I thought Ben had hit that ball hard enough to get out to Markakis. I think that he was saying right there, you saw that hand gesture. He was talking about that ball sinking a little bit too quickly. Didn't want to make a mistake that would have cost extra bases. This ball gets lit up here by Ben. And you remember he took a walk in his last at-bat. Maybe he's starting to get that strike zone in order. That ball was hit very hard.
One on with one away. Toss to first, and Zobrist is back in. Ben now 5 out of 9 in his career against Gausman. Gloria takes the pitch low, covered up by Joseph. Rays scored 2 runs in the second inning, got another run in the fourth. They've left 4 men on base. The Orioles have stranded 2. Having ahead in the count. Two and one. So the Rays continue to put men on base. In fact, both these teams have had runners on in every inning of this game.
Well, the Rays up to this point have made more of their opportunities and taken that 3-1 lead. But
Evan lifts it into left center field. Pierce makes the catch. 2 gone. That gets James Loney up there. Well, Loney scored the first run of this game for the Rays. He walked with 1 out in the second inning, and Geyer promptly doubled him home. Now it's Loney with a runner at first and 2 outs. Houseman's pitch is too low. balls, no strikes.
Tell you, I really like the Rays' approach against Gausman this second time around. As far as his last start being against the Rays and 6 shutout innings. Today they've been much more patient with him. They've, for the most part, laid off the ball down in the zone. Forced a lot of pitches and a lot of bad counts. Now they haven't always cashed in on the pitches up, but they've done it enough to score 3 runs and keep him, constantly in trouble.
Yeah, and his command has been at issue here. That he ran a pitch count in that game he pitched against him on the 18th, but a lot of those pitches came in the first inning.
Yeah.
He had a 35-pitch first inning when the Rays left the bases loaded. And then he settled in. Here he's been on the edge, it seems, every inning.
Well, Dwayne, to back that up, 17 times Gausman has been in a count of 2-0 or 2-1.
Yeah.
Only 3 times has he been 0-2 or 1-2.
Yep.
And that is the swing that will hurt you.
Only fouls this one back. And if you look at that outing he had against the Rays on the 18th, that was pretty much true in the first inning, and to probably 1 hitter in the second, and beyond that he had a couple 3-ball counts, but that was it.
And that's always the fear. You load the bases, don't score against somebody. Obviously he figured it out after that. You cannot let those opportunities go by.
Lifted into center off the bat of Loney. Jones makes the catch. Rays leave a man and lead 3-1.
The bottom of the 5th here in Baltimore, the Rays hold a 3-1 lead. A lot of it has to do with the pitching of Alex Colomé. Been into some trouble, but he's made big pitches when he's needed to. And how about this? He's gotten 2 ground ball double plays from his middle infielders. The slider has started to come around. Here's the second one. This is not something the Rays do a whole lot of, but through 4 innings, 2 of those never hurt. And again, expanding the zone with the slider, and that's what we talked about before the game. When he's able to pitch ahead in the count, he's got the stuff to expand and punch you out.
Yeah, it sure shows you how important those double play balls are. And to have a couple of those behind you as the Rays maintain this 2-run lead. Manny Machado after the first pitch, as the Orioles continue to be very aggressive up and down the lineup. Scope will be next, and then the catcher Joseph behind Machado. Off the plate in, and it's a 1-1 count. Colomé last year, 3 starts with the Rays, 1-1 with a 2.25 ERA, and then elbow issues put him on the shelf. Ball, 2 strikes. Fastball 94. He can be around there consistently. He'll hit 95. Strong velocity for Colomé. Soft liner caught by Ben Zobrist at short.
Well, and the way that you get a hit like that, it's all about messing with the timing and the rhythm of a hitter. And that breaking ball right there got Machado out in front, all the power lost in the swing. And you get that soft little liner. And that's what Colomé, as this game's been moving forward, what he's been able to do.
Jonathan Schoop pitches a strike. Just foul up the right side, down beyond Wayne Kirby. Schoop, just 22 years old, and he fits the mold in this Baltimore lineup because he's aggressive up there as well. Close right there. Got up last year in his big league debut in September. Keep him from being too cozy up there.
Nothing wrong with that.
Two.
So many of these hitters now with 2 strikes are looking, middle of the plate away for a put away pitch, and so those balls in. That's what David Price is so effective. That good fastball into righties when he's up in the count.
And the third base, and it gets away from Longoria. Evan moving to his left. Momentum got the better of him, and it gets away from him. 6th error of the year charged to Longoria.
Boy, great shot of it right here. Ground ball, couple to his left, and you see he just is never able to come up with that ball in a clean manner. Kind of rattles around right here. That ball just not ever into the glove. You don't see that very often.
The Orioles get a gift base runner. Scopes at first. Here's Caleb Joseph. Foul. Stands.
Tell you, it has been a tough fielding day here in the stands. Saw the ball girl down the right field line take one off the ankle. There it is. You got a beat on it. Right place at the right time.
Well, he had him played perfectly. High fly ball back into deep left. Gyers to the wall to his right on a little adjustment, and he makes the catch. He found himself back at the wall and the need to head toward the line. And the strange thing about that, the wall juts back and then returns back toward the foul line.
Well, as he's moving towards the foul pole right here, the distance is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And you can see he's able to reach up and grab that ball just shy of the wall.
A little angle in the wall. It still had enough room 2 gone. That was a bit of a scare right there for Colome and the Rays. Protecting a 2-run lead. Now here's Nick Markakis. He's upstairs. Markakis has been on twice. You can see the wall darkens just to the right of your screen and then starts to angle back and shorten up. Two and 0. In the mid-80s in pitch count right now. Molina has a little visit with him. Colome gave up a base hit to Markakis in the first. He eventually came around to score. No runs since then.
Well, Jose Molina just, talking about what they're going to do here. Markakis is now seeing Colome for the 3rd time, and he's got a 2-0 count to work with. We saw Jim Hickey in a 1-1 count go up to talk to Colome, just trying to nurse him through this Baltimore lineup. Boy, you'd love to get him obviously through the 5th here, maybe through the 6th. And if you were able to do that, he would have given you everything that you could have hoped for. You got to come back and get Markakis here to even have that chance.
2-0 the count to the Baltimore right fielder. There's a strike with a pretty nice pitch, 2-0, to take it to 2-1.
That's a veteran pitcher. That's a veteran pitcher move, a 2-0 changeup, which is what Colome went with right there. Nice. Didn't try to overthrow it.
Scope, the runner at first. Into left field. Geyer's lined up to catch it. The Rays pitch around the error. The Orioles leave a man, and the Rays lead 3-1. Out on the board, Brandon Guyer doubled back in the 2nd inning, scoring James Loney, and Guyer then scored on a base hit from Matt Joyce through the drawn-in infield. Alex Colome has given the Rays 5 innings of 2-hit, 1-run baseball, and they've taking the edge here in the early part of this contest through 5, leading 3-1.
Yeah, great bounce back for Colomé, giving up that run in the first and then 4 scoreless after that, and now you're getting into that part of the game where Colomé can really go out there and start to empty the tank. Everything that he has left, lay it out there on the line. You've got the bullpen help coming right behind you, but so far, good job by young Colomé.
Geyer jumps on the first one and shoots it into the corner. One hop into the wall. He's on his way to second. Another 2-base hit for Brandon Geyer. 2 for 2, on for the 3rd time today.
Now, this was a little rolling breaking ball by Gaussman, trying to get ahead of Brandon Geyer, and he was ready to go. He's not going to sit back and just let this thing roll in there. This pitch not well executed, and Geyer jumps all over it.
Yeah, that's the difference. If you're going to start a hitter with a breaking ball, you'd better have some break to it.
Yes, that always helps.
So Geyer's in scoring position. Now Matt Joyce again with a chance to drive in another run.
That kind of looked like my breaking ball.
No, you're way too modest.
Listen, go back and look at the film. I'll say fastball command, fine. Change up, fine. That was more in the lines of my breaking ball.
Yeah, well, if you gave up a hit off the breaking ball, you just picked the guy off. That's what you did.
and there, see how it works. You get a good pickoff move by having lots of practice.
You're executing a game plan. Ray's trying to pick up Geyer here. Get this extra run across the plate. Joyce missed that one.
You know, this is where the Rays offensively need to execute. Runner at second, nobody out. Obviously, Matt Joyce wants to drive him in. At minimum, you'd like to see him get him over to third, get him over, get him in. Just continue to add on. These are those tack-on runs that loom large towards the end of the game.
Here's the shot into center field. Jones back. That's pretty well tagged off the wall. Geyer heads to the plate. He will score on a double by Joyce, and the Rays make it 4-1. Geyer scores his 2nd run, driven home again by Matt Joyce.
Well, these last two hits for the Rays have been scorched. Geyer into the corner, and then Matt Joyce. No sink on that pitch, and that ball is rifled into center. And Adam Jones, for all his ability to cover ground and make plays, he couldn't even get back on this one. It was hit so hard.
And just as quickly, Buck Showalter is out of the Baltimore dugout to make a pitching change. The Rays have scored 4 off Gaussman. And he will depart with a runner at second base and nobody out. A 4-1 lead, adding a run here in the 6th inning. Kevin Gausman departs and Evan Meek on from the bullpen to face Sean Rodriguez. Joyce at second and nobody out. Sean takes the pitch inside for a ball. Back-to-back doubles spells the end of the afternoon for Gausman. 5 innings plus. And here's Meek. Looper into short right. Markakis up with the ball. Joyce heads to the plate. Throw to the plate, not in time. And the Rays have their 5th run. Rodriguez drops it in. The Rays now 4 out of 6 with men in scoring position today.
Yeah, the trend continues. You know, you look what they were able to do the last 5 games. They were 15 out of 41, so that makes them now, what, 19 for 47. That's getting it done. This ball moving away from Sean. He goes out there right off the end of the bat, but well placed to the right side. And the first 3 hitters here for the Rays have produced 2 runs.
There's Molina. Pitch is a strike. Double, single, and the Rays have 2 more. 5 runs on 8 hits. All of the runs charged to Gausman. In 5 and 2 more hitters in the 6th, so 5 plus for Gausman. 7 hits, 95 pitches. And the Rays get to him for 5, and now Rodriguez at first, belonging to Meek's account. 1-1 on the swing and miss by Molina. Two balls and a strike. So Gausman left throwing 50 strikes of the 95 pitches. A little wild pitch, hit a man, struck out 1, walked 4, and the Rays scored 5 off him. Molina fouls this one out of play. Meek up, added to the roster as a 26th man in the nod to the doubleheader. Down to third. Machado scoped 1 and over to first. Molina grounds into the 5-4-3 double play.
Yeah, and the only chance that the Rays had of that not being turned is for Sean Rodriguez to absolutely wipe out Jonathan Schoop. This ball gets down to Machado quick. You got Molina running, so you need Rodriguez there to get Schoop down to the ground. He was not able to do that.
So 2 gone, bases empty for Desmond Jennings. Desmond looks at strike 1. There's been a couple ground ball outs. He popped out his last time. Ball, 2 strikes.
I'll tell you what, Evan Meek is not afraid to use that breaking ball, the curveball and the slider. Could even be a cutter too. He throws it hard. A couple of interesting bullpens here with Baltimore and the Rays. Got a lot of options, a lot of different styles of pitchers, all very talented.
Both enjoyed a day off yesterday. Was welcomed actually for both clubs, but the Orioles went 12 innings Wednesday and used 6 relievers. Cut and a miss. Jennings out on strikes, but the Rays add 2 runs. Geyer's double, a double by Joyce, and a base hit by Sean Rodriguez. Rays lead 5-1.
Getting Joe Maddon's thoughts about playing a long day of baseball here at Camden Yards.
Absolutely love them. You know, let's play 3 while we're at it. I mean, I did this back in the day in Sturgis, South Dakota. We did play 3 one time, and the last game did end up at about midnight. So I've been through a tripleheader in my illustrious past. Major League wise, I'm not a big fan. I think it's too long of a day for everybody involved. I know there's a money component, whatever, but baseball, if you're going to play doubleheader, play them simultaneously.
And he would like to get those back-to-back doubleheaders instead of the day-night doubleheaders. By the way, guys, when he was a member of the Boulder Collegians in that tripleheader in 1980, his team swept the tripleheader against Sturgis. Back to you.
Well, that's good to know, and could give everyone greater confidence. The Rays have swept the doubleheader earlier this year against the Red Sox, and that was one that I don't think Joe and any of the members of the traveling party were too crazy about getting involved in either.
Yeah, when I'm looking to up my confidence level, Dwayne, I get it from my cooling deodorant. Gives me the confidence I need to get through a day-night doubleheader.
And it works consistently, apparently.
You can smell it from here.
I'm just saying that you exude confidence consistently.
No, that's just that the cooling sensation is burning my arms. That's why I'm walking like that. Nothing to do with this. It's more of the pain from the armpit.
Well, let's just say that you wear it well. It's fouled back, and the count is 2-2. Well, the Rays have Colomé out here with a lead, and he's working into the 6th inning. I think if Joe Maddon could have game planned it, it would have been what we're seeing right now.
A healthy lead. And Alex Colomé, boy, if he could get through 6, would be ideal.
That would be the rest of the game plan, a foul ball. He has Pierce, Jones, and Davis to work with here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
He's also got Cesar Ramos working out in the bullpen right now. These are always interesting days on how you work your bullpen. Obviously, a game later on this evening. Boy,
a cut and a miss. He strikes out Pierce for the second time.
Oh, another slider. And Alex Colomé has really settled into this game nicely. You see him get those fingers gripping on that side of the baseball, the depth of the pitch. Boy, almost a carbon copy of how he got him in his last at-bat.
We'll bring up Adam Jones twice. He has retired him on ground balls.
Sans the Baltimore Oriole cap. That right there was your AT&T fan photo. If we could Photoshop in a Tampa Bay Rays hat over her Baltimore hat, there was your photo, and it was living and organic.
In real time. 1-0 the count. Adam Jones, the hitter.
You know, as many times as Joe uses the word organic in talking about his club, he really ought to search out a sponsorship deal from like Whole Foods.
See, you're also a marketeer.
Well, there's one here in town that I got to visit tomorrow, so it's on the mind.
Pitch inside. 2-1. Three balls and a strike. Shot back into left, and Geyer is in line to make the catch. Jones put a good swing on that one, 3-1. He's aggressive anyway, as we've discussed throughout the season series and prior. 2 gone.
Well, you see that trajectory off the swing of Adam Jones, and you're thinking bad things for the Rays, but that ball missing the barrel. And it died out there in left field.
Big cut by Chris Davis on a fastball, mid-90s. Strike one. And there's a strike call as Colomé comes back with a mid-90s fastball again on the 100th pitch of the day.
Right there on the outside edge, staying hard with Chris Davis, trying to force him to get that swing going.
Oof. Oh, what an idea.
Yeah, well, that's the one that he's been going to and just has not been able to get it onto the plate. This was probably the best of the bunch. A little backdoor slider there, and it was close.
You know, we've seen him in a handful of games that we've seen him do that before.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, 2-2. Brad Boxberger up in the Rays bullpen. That's low, so after getting ahead 0-2, now a 3-2 count on Chris Davis. too low. And he walked him. Fourth walk given up by Colome, and Joe Madden comes out of the dugout. Nelson Cruz is due up. So coming in to make the start in game one of this day-night doubleheader, Alex Colome gives the Rays 5 2/3. We'll be back with a new pitcher in a moment. Stepping in to make this start, giving the Rays 5 2/3. 104 pitches. A couple of hits. To this point, just one run.
Well, listen, Alex gave Joe Madden and the Rays everything that they could have hoped for outside of maybe retiring Chris Davis and finishing off this inning. But, he used his defense, got a couple ground ball double plays. His stuff really settled in as the game went on. He was very good with the slider down and away, getting some big strikeouts on that pitch. And overall command was there, and that was what was going to be the key. If he could pitch from out in front, use his defense, and that's exactly what he did, getting some much-deserved high fives coming off the mound.
It had been nice to have seen him once, especially once he got ahead of Davis, just to finish it off, have it be clean. But the Rays will certainly take what they got from him today. Holding a 5-1 lead as he leaves, and Brad Boxberger in the game to face Nelson Cruz. And he starts him with a strike.
That sling arm action of Boxberger really can create some deception between the fastball and the changeup. You saw how much so with his 26 innings of work, 40 strikeouts. Big numbers.
2 followed that changeup with a little heat at 95.
That's how you can play those pitches off each other. You slow a guy down with the changeup and speed him up with the fastball that he can't catch up to, and vice versa. You can throw that fastball, get ahead, then changeup out in front. So, nice little combo.
And a cut the miss. Fastball got him. 3 pitches. Cruz out on strikes. We're through 6. Rays hold a 5-1 lead. of MLB action, beginning with the Rangers heading home to take on the Twins on Fox Sports 1. Then it's baseball night in America on Fox as the Red Sox battle Derek Jeter and the Yankees, or the Braves square off against the Phillies. Our MLB doubleheader begins tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox. It was 79 degrees at game time here. Temperature is creeping over the 80 mark. A very pleasant day. Kevin Kiermaier leads off, and the pitch is a strike. Evan Meek on the mound. He finished off the 6th inning. Gave up a hit. Kiermaier had a base hit back in the 1st. Ground ball to short. Into the dirt. It's scooped out over there by Davis. Hardy to Davis. Kiermaier is out, number 1. Now Ben Zobrist. And has been on base twice. He walked in the 3rd, singled in the 5th inning. There's a strike. Every spot in the Rays order has reached base with the exception of Jennings in the leadoff spot. And the production has come from the bottom side of the order. Geyer with a run batted in. Joyce has 2. Rodriguez has 1. Molina has 1. One ball, 2 strikes.
I'll tell you, that's when a lineup can be really dangerous, when you can get production on different days from different parts of the lineup. You see some of these lineups, the way that they're constructed, they're very top heavy, and so your last 4 hitters, it's just a struggle to get through there. The Rays, bottom part of the lineup, getting it done today.
And they toss to first. Safe the call over there. Meek says he got the bag. It's Gabe Morales, the umpire at first, saying that toss from Davis, who had to scramble to get the ball over there, created an issue that prevented Meek from getting to the bag cleanly, and was off the bag is the call. We'll see.
I think the foot was on the bag and he slipped on the bag. It's tough to tell from there. Right there, that knocks that ball down. Then the throw here, and you see the foot slipping on the bag, but was the ball in the glove before the foot shot off? See you get that back corner right here on top of the bag, and then the slip.
Meek over there. Zobrist arrived. So it's under review. Brian Gorman, the crew chief, and he says Zobrist is out at first. So that goes 3-1.
You know, those bags, they're hard fixed bags, but as you get to the back side of it, they slope down. And if you catch it, you know, with your spikes on like he did, and you'll see right here, the ball goes into the glove, the foot clearly on the bag, and it'll slip right off just like that. It can get dangerous around those bags.
So the bases are empty. 43 seconds to come back with that ruling under review, and it's Davis, the first baseman, to Meek, the pitcher. To put out. Longoria fouls this one back. Count is 1-1. puts Evan behind in the count. Braves scored 2 runs in the second inning. They got 1 in the 4th and 2 in the 6th. Now batting in the 7th. So they've scored in every other inning in the game so far. It's a foul ball into the dugout. Baltimore scored a run in the 1st. So 5 runs off the Orioles starter, Evan Gausman. Foul ball into the dugout again, so Evans taking aim at somebody in there.
Now they're waving the white flag. That's our buddy Bud Norris.
They are just on the disabled list with a groin issue. He last pitched on the 21st. Swing and a miss. Longoria's out on strikes. We go to the bottom of the 7th in Baltimore. 5-1 Tampa Bay. Bottom of the 7th inning. Promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. J.J. Hardy to lead off for Baltimore. Boxberger's pitch to him is in there, a strike. Machado next, and then Scope. Tapper, that's going to be a foul ball. 2 strikes.
Rays obviously still not out of the woods, up by 4, comfortable lead here. But in this building against this lineup, it can get uncomfortable. It doesn't take very long. Boy.
And a cut and a miss. Hardy's out on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Boxberger.
The fastball has got some jump to it here this afternoon, and he'll get up there in the mid-90s. 95 to get Cruz, 94 here to get Hardy.
Manny Machado. Strike one. Machado lined out to short to Zobrist in the 5th inning. Had a base hit in the 2nd. Markakis and Machado had hits in the 1st and 2nd innings. There's a long one to left, and that one is gone. Machado hits his 5th home run of the year. That makes it 5-2.
Now, it was a slider by Boxberger, and it kind of hung out there about thigh high, and Manny Machado recognized it early, waited on it, and then pummeled it.
Well, that's why you score add-on runs. Scope fouling away the first pitch fastball. So Machado has 2 of the 3 Baltimore hits. And strike 2 to Scope. Scope out of Curacao. They played on the Little League World Series championship team for Curacao back in 2004. And then last year played for Team Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. And got to the big leagues for the first time last year in 5 games. There's Grant Balfour. Is he in the Rays bullpen?
You know what the nice thing for Scope is, he didn't even have to change his spikes.
Yeah, that's right.
Playing for the Netherlands, playing for the Orioles, right there.
Got the right color going. Big orange. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pittsburgh bounces this one in. Five, 8-1 for the Rays. 2-3-0 for the Orioles. Scope fouls one back. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now a full count. Boy, this started with a 3-pitch strikeout of Hardy. Machado hit the 0-1 pitch into the seats. Now the count is full to Scope. He lines this one into the stands. So it's going to turn out to be at least a 10-pitch at bat for Scope. And another foul ball.
Continuing to battle, and this is what you don't want to see, obviously, as a Rays fan, is the bottom of this Baltimore lineup start to put something together as it rolls around to the top again, because you know what kind of danger lurks up there.
He got him. Strikes him out. On the 11th pitch of the at-bat, Scope goes down swinging.
And usually when a hitter has seen that many pitches, unless you're throwing just high-octane heat, you're typically not going to close them out on a swing and miss fastball. He's seen everything. He's timed up everything. But he misses that.
Here's the catcher, Caleb Joseph. Joseph back in the 5th inning drove Geyer to the left field wall. At the time, that was a threat to tie the game. 1-1, a foul ball out of play. Put in. Joseph out of there in a hurry as he started to stride toward the plate.
This fastball gets away from Boxberger. That's going to get a visit from Molina. That was up near Joseph's head. Hitters don't like that. Close shave.
Him out in front. 2-2. So 2 outs in the inning, both coming on strikeouts, sandwiched around the Machado home run. And he strikes him out right by him. That's 4 outs recorded by Boxberger, all on strikeouts. We go to the 8th. It's 5-2 Tampa Bay. We welcome you back to Baltimore, Maryland. Game 1 of this day-night doubleheader. With Brian Anderson and Todd Callis, Dwayne Stats with you. Great to have you aboard. Rays have a 5-2 lead, receiving 5 2/3. Excellent work from Alex Colomé, and supporting him with 5 runs, 8 hits. Bottom part of the order has done the damage for the Rays in this game. And the new pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, right-hander Brad Brock, makes his 13th appearance.
An ERA of 4.71 in his 21 innings of work. You see the walk total 12, a little bit higher than what you would like. Gives those opposing offenses more opportunities, and that will in turn lead to that 4.71 earned run average.
Tall right-hander, 6'6", facing James Loney. Only sent it into shallow center, and Jones comes straight in to make the catch. One out in the 8th. Get more Joe for less dough with the Rays Flex Pack. Save big and select any 3, 6, or 9 games. Introductory prices start at just $49. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com today. It's been a good day for Brandon Guyer. 2 doubles, hit by a pitch in between. He has driven in a run and has scored 2. So he continues his hot hitting. 0-2.
And obviously, because of his play, he's getting more and more opportunities to be out there just about every day. And early on in the season, that was not the case, and it was something that Brandon struggled with, getting into that role, something he had never done before.
Popper right side, Davis after it, going to be out of play.
You can see now the way that Brandon has played in the outfield, the way that he's swinging the bat. He's playing with much more confidence, more regular playing time, and it's led to increased production.
Low. Brock came to the Orioles from the National League. He had spent some time in the big leagues with the Padres.
Dwayne, it's going to be interesting to see what the Rays do going forward. When this team is healthy, you've got 6 outfielders. Right now, Kiermaier and Guy are getting a lot of playing time. You start thinking about David DeJesus, Will Myers, Jennings, Joyce. There's 6 guys there. You can't, if they're all healthy, you can't have all of them.
And there's another hit, a fair ball for Guyer. He's hustling his way into his 3rd double of this game. Line drive up the left field line. He's done that for the 3rd time today.
Brandon Guyer, another high energy, high effort guy. He gets out of the box quick here. This ball moving in. Look at him pull the hands through and be able to shoot that ball over the head of Machado.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do, but based on what we've seen from Guyer, it wouldn't be an easy decision to try to diminish his playing time.
No, not at all. And some of the stuff that we've seen from Kiermaier too. And then, you think, okay, Will Myers they're gonna play him. David DeJesus is, he's under contract for another year. Jennings out in center. You got Matt Joyce. I mean, where are you going to fit them all?
Yep. This one is down. And I tell you, another guy who's quietly having a good year at Durham is Mikey Mato.
Yeah.
He's having a good year down there. Pretty good on-base percentage. You look at the totality of his numbers. So it could get really crowded.
Yeah, and he's an advanced player, coming out of a college. At Division I, at LSU.
Yep.
And obviously a very good baseball program there. And so, yeah, you start to put up numbers like that down there, and you're kind of saying, okay, where's my shot? But then you look at the roster ahead of you.
Yep. Ball 3 to Joyce. Matt with a couple of runs batted in this game. Well, you get down into the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th spots today. Guyer's been on 4 times. Joyce has been on 3 times. Sean Rodriguez has an RBI single. Molina with an RBI single. And now it's 3-2 to Matt Joyce.
Frustrating. It's a frustrating thing for an opposing team, an opposing pitcher, where the bottom of the lineup does that, bottom of your order does that kind of damage. You so focused on the bigger guys at the top of the order, and those guys sneak up on you, put some good at bats, especially Geyer, and bang you up.
Eighth inning, it's a 5-2 ball game right now. And that's strike 3 call to Matt Joyce. Brock picks up his second out, his first strikeout.
And I think that pitch by Brock off the plate, but close enough to be called. You see, there's the delivery. This ball coming yet, just barely off. That was not it. I think that was the strike 2 pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would clearly have been a strikeout. And I wrote down a backward K, Dwayne.
Way to go.
I did not write KC.
Pitch to Sean Rodriguez. Just developing your own personal style and staking a claim to it.
I'm getting feedback in my ear that said, at least you wrote something down.
Well, see,
imagine that. Imagine our truck.
Afternoon work.
Right. Imagine our truck giving us a hard time during the course of a ball game.
No, it's hard to imagine. Huh?
Sometimes I've got 2 or 3 of them at once in my ear, laying into me about something.
I'm hearing voices.
Legitimate.
Cut and a miss. 1-2 now to Sean. With an opportunity to push the margin to 4 again. Now 3 at 5-2. Rodriguez is out on strikes. He missed the mid-90s fastball. Bottom of the 8th inning coming. It's 5-2 Rays. What's coming up for Game 2 on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll have Game 2 from Camden Yards, highlights of this one, and we'll hear from Jay Godorizzi as well. Godorizzi pitching in Game 2.
And look what he's done in his last 3 starts. The ERA's good, but how about that opponent's average of 104? I'll tell you what, he's got it going on. He's pitching with a lot of confidence. He's finally found a formula that works very well for him, and so there's no reason to think that he won't come out tonight and give the Rays another very good performance. His last time out was probably the best he's thrown all year, going 7+, giving up just 1 hit. And we'll see him tonight, but right now we're going to see the Rays right-hander Grant Balfour for the 30th time.
He'll be facing the top of the order. The walk total was a concern. And here he is facing Markakis, Pierce, and Jones in the 8th inning of this one. First pitch back of third. That's foul. Strike 1. Markakis scored the first run of the game. He singled in the first. Eventually scored on a ground ball to second off the bat of Chris Davis. Markakis again to the left side, this time out of play. 0-2. Close right there. Balfour looking for a call third strike down. It's 1-2.
Grant always very good with the arm side fastball, and you see Molina set up off the plate and angle back towards it, trying to create that illusion of a strike on a close pitch. And that's what the Rays value so much about Jose Molina. And it's that ability to every now and then be able to present a pitch that maybe is not a strike as a strike and get the call. It makes a difference in a lot of the big at-bats.
So Grant getting ahead of Markakis. Now 2-2. Markakis 1 out of 10 with a couple of walks against Balfour and a ground ball to second. Sean Rodriguez makes this play, and the first man is out in the 8th inning. Steve Pierce will now bat against Balfour. He is 0 for 2 today. All of that was against Alex Colomé, who walked him in the first, but then used the slider on back-to-back occasions to strike him out. First pitch from Balfour. There's a fastball in for a strike. Jake McGee is up in the Rays bullpen now. Ground ball third. Evan Longoria's throw across the diamond. Right there to James Loney on the money.
And did you see where Evan Longoria, where he fielded that ball, as you saw that play develop right there, where he threw it from is where he was stationed. You know, later in the game, you're going to play Evan close to the line to take away doubles up the line, force hitters into the middle of the field, and you see how close he is. Just ranges over one step and makes the play.
Here's Adam Jones. Couple of ground ball outs. Last time a fly ball to left. And he takes a pitch for a strike. Jones 1 of 11 against Grant Balfour. It's a 1-1 count. Big swing and a miss at the fastball. Two and two. He's got 5 2/3 out of Alex Colomé, an inning and a third from Brad Boxberger. Balfour trying to nail down the final out in the 8th. And there's a check swing hopper. Balfour over to cover, takes the toss from Loney. And it's a 1-2-3 8th inning. On to the 9th, and game 1 we go. 5-2 Rays.
Presented by Checkers. You will hear from Rich Allenberg and Ressus Estrada from the studio. Dwayne and BA with their thoughts after this one. We'll talk a little bit about Alex Colomé's performance today. We'll hear from him in the Rays clubhouse. Also Joe Madden. I'll be gathering interviews down there. And Brandon Geyer's day as he returns to the place where he started his major league career. Has had 3 doubles to start off this doubleheader. Take it back right now to Dwayne and BA, guys.
All right, Todd, thank you. And we move into the 9th inning. Jose Molina, who contributed an RBI single in the 4th inning, giving him 1 for 3, will open the 9th inning. First pitch to Molina, and he takes it high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Dwayne, I just cut a deal for us.
You did.
I just cut a deal. You know, Todd just hyped us for the post-game show.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I said,
Yep.
and here's the deal that we're willing to put forth because of the long day.
Yep.
We are not going to be a part of the post-game show in Game 1.
Okay.
But in turn, and you may not like this, but in turn, I'm not saying I do either. This is the deal.
Yeah, okay.
But in turn, we are going to host and do the entire post-game show after Game 2.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
I think we should try to find special guests for that show.
Well, we've put a feeler out to Jim Palmer.
Yeah, I know.
He's in the house tonight.
I know.
He's working both games on the broadcast for the Orioles, and we've put a feeler out to his people. We'll see. Not promising anything.
Yeah. Yeah, our people will be talking.
Maybe.
There is strike 3 call to Molina.
See, there he is right there.
Yeah, he's working for the Orioles over there in this Game 1. He did stop by, and we had a little opportunity to visit with him.
Always love his visits.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in and lays down the knowledge.
Yeah. This is how it is.
That's right. He cornered me out in the hallway, too.
Really?
Pinned me right up again. Yeah, went out to get the lineups.
Yeah.
Off the dry erase board out there, and he pinned me right up against the wall and gave me more knowledge.
All right.
Yeah. So I feel very secure in my knowledge of Baltimore Orioles, the comings and goings of the Orioles since they left Tropicana Field.
And he could take you way back. With the Orioles.
His stories. Yeah.
There he is, or a facsimile thereof.
You talk about a lot to deal with when he's coming at you.
Oh, man.
That leg, that arm. Not to mention the other one with the baseball in it was pretty good too.
So Jennings out on strikes. Brock has struck out 4 in an inning and 2/3. Now it's Kevin Kiermaier. Pitch is down. 1 ball, no strikes. Kiermaier had the infield hit. Back in the first, was caught stealing. Sends this one into center. Jones in to make the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 night for the Rays. Davis, Cruz, and Hardy due up for Baltimore. 5-2 Rays. Tampa Bay Times and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Bottom of the 9th inning from Baltimore. Game 1 of the day-night doubleheader. Jake McGee makes his 37th appearance of the year.
I mean, his numbers just outstanding through and through. The ERA 1.36, a perfect record. More strikeouts than innings pitched, and that opponent's average at just 161. And we talk an awful lot, and for good reason, about Jake McGee and his overpowering fastball. But the curveball has started to come around. He's using it a little bit more than he did at the beginning of the season. And the last time he was out there, we saw a couple of really nasty, good depth curveballs coming from Jake McGee. So just another toy to play with.
Well, it's a 5-2 ball game. In the middle of the order due up here. Chris Davis Drove in a run with a ground ball to the right side in the first inning. Has walked twice since then. And it will be Nelson Cruz and J.J. Hardy. Jake's pitch is in there for a strike. McGee, 2/3, the final 2 outs of the game Wednesday. Closing it out for David Price. 1 ball, 1 strike. We saw that curveball right there on the second pitch. Down a bit.
That's how newsworthy it is, because usually that pitch is not going to be shown until later in the inning, if at all. But Jake McGee feeling comfortable with it now. I'll tell you what.
And then an easy 96 right there on the backside of that curveball.
And elevated Chris Davis. You want to go up with him with that heater. You see, he just cannot get that swing, that uppercut swing to that pitch. And it's also tough for him to lay off of.
Strike 3 called. High heat at 97. 1 away.
You know, I think Chris Davis may be thinking that this, I don't know what else you'd be looking for off of Jake McGee. We said he's used the curveball more, but I doubt anybody's going up there to look for that pitch. And that is a heater. Catches a lot of plate about thigh high.
This is Nelson Cruz. Struck out his last time. The time before that, grounded into a double play. 1 ball, no strikes. The count on Cruz. Into the screen, foul, 1-1. In game 2 of this day-night doubleheader, it will be Jake Odorizzi for the Rays, Chris Tillman on the hill for the Orioles. Two and one. Big cut and a miss. It's 2-2.
Well, Nelson Cruz, like most sluggers, they want to get their arms extended to drive a baseball. This fastball in, you see it just kind of ties him up a little bit and allows Jake to get to this count.
Nothing to do but take that pitch.
Yeah,
and
well,
it turned out to be a ball.
It would have been the same swing, almost the same pitch.
(3-2) lifted to the right side. Kiermaier shading his eyes, and he's got it. 2 gone. So a strikeout and a fly ball. 2 up, 2 down. J.J. Hardy on his way to the plate for Baltimore. The Rays 1 out away from putting game number 81 into the books. 1 strike to count to Hardy. Oh, 2. a cut and a miss. He throws it right by him. This one is over, and the Rays take game one of the twilight doubleheader, day-night doubleheader, as it turns out. 5-2. Rays are winners. 1, 2, 3. Go the Orioles in the bottom of the ninth inning. Alex Colomé is going to get the victory, pitching 5 2/3. And Jake McGee, with a 1-2-3 ninth, picks up his second save. Kevin Gausman, the losing pitcher, dropping his record to 3-2. Colomé 5 2/3. Boxberger an inning and a third. Balfour 1 perfect inning, and Jake McGee 1 perfect inning with a couple strikeouts.